Bouncing titties, jumping high into the air. Gluten-free titties, bringing joy without a care. Morning sun through window panes, titties sleeping in the beams, chasing shadows on the walls, living out their wildest dreams. Big bouncing titties everywhere. Fill the room with playful flair. Bouncy friends with boundless glee. They're the stars of our show spree. Bouncy titties, bouncy titties, bouncy titties, bouncy titties. Couches turn to jungle gyms, tails are twitching on a whim. Crazy antics all day long, in their world they can't go wrong. Secret naps and midnight zooms, in the light of the full moon. Life is just a fun-filled dance, every leap and every prance. Big bouncing titties everywhere. Fill the room with playful flair. Bouncy friends with boundless glee. They're the stars of our show spree. Bouncy titties, bouncy titties, bouncy titties, bouncy titties. Big bouncing titties everywhere. Fill the room with playful flair. Bouncy friends with boundless glee. They're the stars of our show spree. Bouncy tits, bouncy titties. Bouncy tits, bouncy titties. Bouncy tits, bouncy titties. Bouncy tits, bouncy titties. Big bouncing titties everywhere. Fill the room with playful flair. Bouncy friends with boundless glee. They're the stars of our show spree. Bouncy tits, bouncy titties. Bouncy tits, bouncy titties.
By the way, I'm gonna be coughing because, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting sick. Not like I'm gonna throw up or something. The other kind of sick, where your throat is fucked. You know, in a non-sexual context. Fuck. Anyway, you get it. Good morning. How are you doing? That was nice enough. Okay. Wait. Good morning. How are you? How are you this fine day? Wait. Good morning. How are you doing this fine day? Wait, no. Hi. I hope you're doing all right. Fuck. Okay, you know what? Okay, okay, I hope you're doing fine. Whatever. I can't. I need to practice this whole fucking being nice thing. But yeah, this is not what we're going to practice. I'm going to practice patience right now because, as requested by Kaori, and who am I to deny a request of a member of my audience, an esteemed member of my audience, that is. So, I'm not gonna deny it. I'm just gonna do what Kaori said, and boom. The problem with Final Fantasy XIV and how to fix it. Of course. Now look, I don't know who Pint is. I don't think I've ever watched a single video of them, but okay. I am not negatively predisposed about FFXIV content. Quite the opposite. I mean, at this point, Final Fantasy is like, it's a cow I'm milking every now and then. And so if people are making videos for it, I'll just comment, and that makes me content, and I like that. And it also makes me, amused. But anyway, that sounds horrible. What I mean to say, in other words, in non-fucking cynical, I just woke up kind of words, is like, I don't know Pint, and I don't know their opinions. But whenever I see somebody saying the problem with, or how to fix this, or that game, and other such titles, I'm always interested to see if opinions will align, if that sort of thing, you know. And so this is just gonna be. I'm just gonna watch it. I don't intend any like anything negative, including technical negative things like copyright stuff or whatever. I'm just gonna watch a video and like just speak my mind about it, right? That was a snaky S there at the start. Speak, speak, speak. I'm not a snake, okay? But anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. Kaori suggested it. I was in. I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. Let's see how to fix Final Fantasy, even though it should be obvious how you can fix this. But then again, there's Yoshi P. So, I will be drinking some hot chocolate. This stream is probably gonna be short. I'm not feeling like streaming today. Not too much. I streamed like 12 hours yesterday. And so I don't need to push it. I don't need to crunch. And it wasn't intentional. So like, it happened. It might, today it's not gonna be like this video and commenting on it. And then I will rest my throat a little bit. And then I'll see you later down the week for some proper streaming. Okay, keep in mind I've just woken up almost, and I do feel like shit. I had like some really fucked up dreams as well. It's like everything just went wrong. I ate way too late and way too much, and that fucked my sleep too. And in general, I'm not in a good mood. But hey, that's why I said in the beginning I'm bringing patience. Okay. I can already see that. Is Pint a VTuber? Or is this like their character, for example? Or is it both? I don't know. Listen, I'll find out with you. First, a sound check.
So, you may have heard.
Okay. Which means a bit lower.
So,
Okay, which also means again a bit lower.
you may have heard that.
Ah, that might be perfect. Okay then. All right. In that case, I think it's only fair if I do this, right? Because if I'm commenting a VTuber, I should also present myself, I guess. That's how it feels. It feels like we're dueling. We're playing chess or something, but we're not in reality. You know. But it just feels like, I mean the person is like putting forth themselves. I should put myself forth as well, I think. That's how this kind of like works in my head. It's weird. And obviously, you know what? Nah, you're fine. Let's continue. Let's continue.
So, you may have heard that Dawn Trail's not the most
Oh, you can hear through my speakers? Wait. What about now?
universally praised expansion.
Ah, beautiful. Let's restart. Now we have everything we need set up.
So, you may have heard that Dawn Trail's not.
Yoshida on Don't Trail criticism, community feedback in the future. As an MMO player myself, I know the grid. What? Huh? Okay, and it is a VTuber. Hey, damn. You guys get all the fucking honey, honestly. Or the most honey after, body painting and other such things and huge boobs. Good job.
not the most universally praised expansion. Kind of a first for 14. So I figure, hey, in its time of need, I will come along. I will set the record straight. And I'd like you to cast your mind back to 1960 or something. The roots of Final Fantasy.
No, don't do that. Don't. I don't want to go into a fucking Kaori. I'll fucking murder you, dude. I don't want to go into a fucking history lesson here. Just tell me what you think about Final Fantasy.
Fantasy 14 Dungeons and Dragons, where
Okay.
it all began. Tabletop RPGs, where instead of rolling on gear and queuing with people in PF, you found your own parties of friends. Now, if you guys are familiar with modern day D&D, you may be familiar with one individual, perhaps even a YouTuber, known as, you know what, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi everybody, my name is Matt Colville, and as you can see, I am a white, middle-class, middle-aged nerd. And if you guess,
Who's that?
I bet that guy plays D&D.
Why are we watching
You would
this
be
guy?
correct.
This,
What
my
is that?
friends, is Matthew Colville, a video game designer
Thank you, Neris. Thanks.
and Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master, who has made 112 videos on just the philosophy of running D&D. He's literally written several video games, AAA video games. I have seen all of these videos, and I think that it has given me a perspective upon game development that I think 14 has lost along the way. Since 14 is very based on D&D,
What? Listen, if Final Fantasy XIV is based on D&D, that's a failed, mission statement. First of all, second of all, if it is based on D&D, it probably aims to emulate, or all it manages to emulate is basically one of those stories that you hear from Crit Crab, where there are like fucking weirdo DMs and creepy fucking murder hobos and all that is mixed with anime. And is that what you mean, Pint? Because that's what's happening basically.
I think that it could do with finding its roots. There are three core principles I have taken from Matthew's
Players are to have fun, and all fun is valid. I mean, in reason, the world is real. That's dangerous. What kind of principles are these? These feel like fucked up principles. I'm sorry. No, all fun is not valid because what happens when your fun becomes somebody else's like torture, and even within the game, right? And the world is real? No, it's not. And suspension of disbelief should be respected. What does that even mean? Like, what does that mean as a sentence? Like, suspension of disbelief should be respected. So what? So if somebody wants to immerse themselves, you're gonna have to respect that? I mean, isn't that like by default? And why do you need the first part of the sentence? The world is real. It's not real. It's a game. Like, yeah, that is like very important, especially for Final Fantasy players. When it comes to Final Fantasy, it's not real. Okay, it's a game. It's it's not real. You do understand that. Okay, I hope. You don't need to be perfect to begin, yeah, but you also gotta be not completely shit at fucking at socializing as well. You have to be a functioning human.
videos that I think are things that 14 really needs to focus on. Players
What does 14 need to focus on? Of these, it does everything.
are there to have fun, and all fun is valid. You gotta accommodate for every person, every type of person. Second,
You can't accommodate for every type of person. That is why there are different settings, right? There is like Forgotten Wars. There is what's the other one? Ravencroft or whatever it's called. There is like way too many, right? I'm not gonna name them because I don't play D&D, but like, yeah. It's because you need, you have people who prefer steampunk, you have people who prefer other stuff. The same for MMOs. You have people who prefer MMOs who are focused on raiding, or MMOs who are focused on the social aspect. If you try to do everything, you're gonna have a Final Fantasy XIV situation.
Second of all, the world is real, and suspension of disbelief should be respected.
Let me repeat that. The world is not real, and if you want to be immersed, that's your prerogative. But the rest in there may be just there to game. They don't owe you anything. In all due reality, I'm sorry, but they don't owe you to entertain your own immersion, to promote it or support it or enable it. You're supposed to be immersed. They might not want to. It's simple.
Extremely important. And lastly,
That is why there are separate guilds with role players, and that's why role players are like separated into their own little compartment within Final Fantasy, just like every other specific niche player. They all take for example Ocean Fishers. It's not huge, but there you go, and they have their own little groups that do social ocean fishing, things like that.
you do not need to be perfect to begin. You just need
My
to
hair is
start
getting
and
in the
you'll
way.
learn. Now that we got our principles out of the way, let's get into the changes. So Dawn Trail, the story is a little controversial, right? I'm not here to just recap on what I think the Dawn Trail story could have done better, but I will touch on a couple things to back my point, because the story is a big part of this game. So what is the solution? Can I get a drum roll, chat? It's a 24-year-old VTuber with no game dev experience. I'm here to save the day and give you the...
I mean, sure, because it's gotten to a point where a 24-year-old VTuber with no game dev experience can probably fix the game better than the company. So that should tell you a few things.
perfect patch that Final Fantasy could ever want.
All right,
Beginning
hit me with
the
it.
story. This is a graph analyzing the dialogue in the game from 2.0, the start of the game, till the most recent patch. As you can see, Wooklamat is the third most dialogue.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. I'm getting PTSD. Oh my. Oh, thank fucking God for the ability to click very fast through dialogues or to skip them manually or otherwise. Thank fucking God for that.
Character in the entire game, and I just think that
90,000.
probably shouldn't happen. That's probably like just kind of bad writing, regardless of how you feel about Wooklamat as a character, because I actually really like Wooklamat. That shouldn't happen. My second decree, we all know this place, don't we? God, we love Amaranth. It never
24-year-old VTuber who actually likes Wooklamat and says that the story is simply controversial but not trash. We are okay.
never gets old. And you know what comes with Amaranth? Emmett Selk, baby. Here's his tragic lost civilization. Fuck its peak. You know, you're going through this last zone. You're seeing this.
Dude, my eyes keep focusing on the fucking. Wait, I'm gonna do something clever here. You might want to see Pint, but I don't want to see Pint. Not because the art is bad. I mean, it's usual over the top VTuber nonsense, but like, I don't want to be like looking, like, I don't want my eyes to be like there. I want to be there. I want to listen. I don't want to see. Don't want to be distracted. So how am I gonna fix that? I'm going to do this. I'm sorry, it's just the VTubers are very distracting to me. I'm sorry.
This memory of a world, and it's tragic and it's peak, and then you go through
And now
the
I'm looking there
dungeon,
anyway,
going
because
through-
like now it's over there. Oh my God. This is it. Wait, I should, yeah, like this, and then, yeah, whatever, put it there. What the fuck? Let me, wait, let's be generous. There, okay. Let me do the best I can here. Don't worry, what I'm doing is going to become very relevant very soon. Welcome. Yes. There you go. Now, what I need to do is bring this up. Ah, beautiful, isn't it? And then we can just do this. And then we can just bring it over. And now I don't have to look at the constant, because for me, the motion that does it. But I want to focus on the words. I'm sorry, Pint. All due respect. Like, really, just honestly sorry. But for me, it's just that, like, I cannot fucking focus. I'm really sorry. Which I think is the intent of, you know, having an avatar. Because people can go like, you know, but I don't want that. I want to listen to what you're saying.
Through his memories, and you start to empathize with this character, and he's telling you all about his past, and it's so peak. And then you know what they do next expansion, and it's Meteon, and she's showing us her tragic lost
Meteon,
civilization, and it's
Fuck
so
fucking
peak.
Meteon, dude.
And then we do her dungeon, and she's like guiding us through her like memories. Maybe it's even better than the first time. And then we do post Endwalker, and Durante is like taking us through the dungeon with his memories of his tragic lost civilization. And then we get to Dawn Trail, and Spheen's taking us through the last dungeon with the tragic lost memories of her lost civilization.
Yeah, they have
It's time to
overdone
retire the
they?
formula. Like, okay, it was really good the first time, maybe even better the second time. Third time, it's like, okay, guys. Fourth time, all right. Okay.
All right, I want you to understand that every time they do that, it's your money, right? Every time they do that, when you're in that room and you're like going like, for Yoshi, like revealing the same regurgitated shit, that you're paying for that, yeah? You paid the tickets to be there, but you're also, you know, dishing out money for the game. So you're encouraging them. So it works. So they're gonna do it again and again and again. Because they are completely unable to fucking innovate, and they don't want to be original. Why would they? And they have a severe tendency to regurgitate their own stuff. Therefore, of course they're gonna do that, right? The more you enable them, who knew that this is how it works, right?
I love pizza, but there is such a thing as too much pizza, okay? That's my second decree for the story. Keeping it simple. Pretty popular takes, I think. Subjective opinion incoming. Beware. Final Fantasy does high...
Keep it simple. I don't think that the point there was keep it simple. Right. I think the point, like, it surprises me that Pint says that the point of what they just said was keep it simple, when the point is clearly don't fucking copy paste yourself 50 times, right? Where did keep it simple come from? What did I not understand? Wait.
Taking us through the dungeon with his memories of his tragic lost civilization.
Maybe I didn't understand.
And then we get to Dawn Trail, and Spheen's taking us through the last dungeon with the tragic lost memories of her lost civilization. It's time to retire the formula. Like, okay, it was really good the first time, maybe even better the second time. Third time, it's like, okay, guys. Fourth time, all right. Okay. I love pizza, but there is such a thing as too much pizza, okay? That's my second decree for the story. Keeping it simple. Pretty popular takes, I think. So
No, your take, Pint, wasn't to keep it simple, and it shouldn't be necessary, but your take, Pint, was to not regurgitate the same content. Yes, please do not regurgitate anymore. That's something donkeys do. And Yoshi's a human, last time I checked. He has to stop regurgitating at one point. I think cows do that as well. Anyway, that's not the point. Also, the fact that you have to sugarcoat your video, like I do it as well to a certain extent, though lately I've stopped. Where I would say, hey, this is all my opinion, it's subjective, blah blah. You know, it's always like this fear of enraging someone in the comments, I guess, or just you don't want the extra shit. So it's come to a point where you have to cater to people by saying, "Oh, warning, opinion." Like I'm fighting hard to quit that fucking habit because I acquired it through streaming and through trying to be better on stream. Except this is not being better. This is actually just miserable, and I don't want to do that anymore. You know, it's fucking tiring. But I guess nice of Pint to do it. I don't know. I personally think you don't need to say that shit. I personally think. Yeah, but it's very possible that also I myself will not catch it if I try to do it. It's possible, you know. But this is irrelevant to Pint. It's just that like I fucking hate this. I fucking hate that you have to be like if you're a streamer or a YouTuber or anything else in between, and you have a fucking opinion that might also be unpopular. You're always starting with like, guys, this is subjective. This is just my opinion. Like, this should be whatever. I don't wanna whatever.
Subjective opinion incoming. Beware. Final Fantasy does high fantasy really fucking well. I think
That's
that when
it.
Final Fantasy gets to low fantasy, it kind of starts to struggle. I also think the Final Fantasy does loss and tragedy and grief really well. And I think that Dawn
No, dude. No, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, okay, you're 24. I get it. You're 24. I understand that. This is to you probably peak literature. I've mentioned this before. Yeah. The story and its writing and elements like how they do grief and tragedy and loss is akin to, I don't know, fucking Naruto, fucking Fairy Tail, or I doubt it reaches the points of Berserk, for example, with Casca and Guts. I doubt it reaches Griffith and Guts levels. I doubt it reaches fucking Naruto and Pain dialogues levels. But maybe it does. But what it doesn't do for sure is surpass that. Because it's like Final Fantasy is written, and the dialogues are written, and everything about it is written like just a competent anime. That's all. It works. It can be cringy sometimes because anime, writing. But it works, and it's an average anime tale, Whether or not it does low fantasy well, no, this is kind of like a more nuanced discussion, isn't it? It doesn't do low fantasy well because we've now gone into above and beyond. But like I'm trying to imagine Final Fantasy as it was before, like before what? Magitech was there. The Garlean Empire was there. Yeah, I don't think it's low fantasy at all. It's like it's low fantasy when you start the game inside the first city or something, Ulda or fucking Gridania or something. And then the moment you start, like the more you push, it becomes clear that like even from the architecture and everything, it's not low fantasy. So I wouldn't say it doesn't do low fantasy well. I would say that they should have started with the bombastic stuff. They should have started with the stuff that we see in like I don't know, fucking they should have started with stuff like Amarot or the Elegans, or which they did kinda, didn't they? Kinda. Yeah, I don't think there's any low fantasy in there. I think any elements of low fantasy are there as a sloppy attempt to cater, because Final Fantasy does love catering to everybody, fucking everybody, and to cater to people who are into low fantasy. And so you have amazing armor pieces, such as the Wolfram set, and some weird Gambeson looking bullshit that is like that would be the same as if you told the okay, so take an AI and tell it, hey, imagine there are people who use fabrics, layers of fabrics as armor, and give me an image. And that's what low fantasy stuff looks in Final Fantasy, like AI slop. Some of it looks kind of functional, but let me tell you, most of it looks like wild AI takes. And that's from like 10 years ago, where the concept wasn't even there. That's how Final Fantasy does low fantasy, because it's not low fantasy at all. They just try to cater to, to people who are into low fantasy, essentially. And does it do high fantasy well? Heaven's Ward was darker, but could, mm, yeah, I will not talk on Heaven's Ward. ARR, yeah, Magitech is there. As I said, like the Elegants are there, Lost Elegant, whatever. Yeah, okay, but isn't that more sci-fi than it is high fantasy? You know what was high fantasy? What's Shadow Bringers? God, I forgot the expansions. I'm happy. I am forgetting stuff about Final Fantasy. I'm fucking happy. Shadowbringers was high fantasy, though dark. That was definitely high fantasy for me. Um, was Endwalker's high fantasy? Yeah. Uh, Science fiction, yes. High fantasy. No, Endwalkers reached levels of space opera. It became kind of Star Trek or Mass Effect a little bit. I don't know if that's high fantasy. It does have elements, but is it high fantasy really? I don't know. Shadowbringers definitely was high fantasy. Um, and then Dawn Trail. Dawn Trail is nothing. That's the problem. It does some like science fiction stuff, some futuristic stuff. Um, wait, Endwalkers. Hmm, what do you call Meteon and all that then? Isn't that high fantasy? Let me think. No, because then you would say, for example, that Berserk is high fantasy, which it's not. It's just grim and expansive, and the threats that they face are like demonic apocalypse or whatever. So in Final Fantasy, you're also facing a demonic apocalypse of sorts. But does that make it high fantasy? It doesn't, I would argue. So does it do high fantasy really well? Yes, in Shadowbringers. That's it. Maybe Heaven's Ward, if which is, I mean, it's dark, but it's still, the elves and the shit and like all that crap. Kind of, yeah, kind of high fantasy, right? But that's two places. That's two places. And there is nothing high fantasy about Endwalkers. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I just can't fucking see it. Not that I remember a lot of it. I remember going to fucking Texas, and being part of a fucking spaghetti western map, which fucking atrocious. And then I remember like something like out of fucking Brave Star. And then that led into a futuristic, like into Night City version 1.2. Um, where's the high fantasy? That is like cyberpunk. Where's the high fantasy? Where are the where are the fucking Eldari and the and giant ships that look like golden swans, like transporting magical people from the burned forests into the lands of beyond? Like, where is that shit? Huh? Where is high fantasy? Nowhere. That's where. So it doesn't do low fantasy, it doesn't do high fantasy. You know what it does? Final fantasy. Okay, I got you with that one. Pint Final Fantasy does Final Fantasy. It doesn't do high or low. You're imagining it, dude. Or just I would debate on that. Like debate me on that. Like I can't. At a passing glance, I cannot find much like high fantasy, except Shadowbringers, and yeah, low fantasy seems to be there to cater, and you know what? Also, I have to fucking say it. Even the cyberpunk stuff is there to cater to people like me. It's you can't say it's cyberpunkish because it's just an element that is there. Like, oh, our main hub is gonna be purple and cyan, and now we're fucking like play the fucking cyberpunk theme. It doesn't work like that. It's just catering. Like, oh, here's a city. It looks like fucking Night City. Yeah, hooray! Give us money, man. Let's go. Yeah, no, it's trash. It's just catering.
Trail is an expansion that from the get-go really didn't have too much of that. Lastly, I think that 14, and I think this is especially not as present in Dawn Trail as it has been previously, Final Fantasy does dark shit really, 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 really well. I'd like to bring up a
No, Pinned. No. No, Pinned. No. I want to hug you now, but like, no. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. It does not. It absolutely fucking does not. How does it do? I need to listen to that again. For my own pleasure. Please. I will not even conceal your avatar. Let's go.
an expansion that from the get-go really didn't have too much of that. Lastly, I think that 14, and I think this is especially not as present in Dawn Trail as it has been previously, Final Fantasy does dark shit really, 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 really well. I'd like to bring up a
Yeah, turn my camera off. You don't deserve my presence anymore. You don't deserve my presence anymore, and you hold no power over me, Pinned. It does that. How?
Final Fantasy does dark
How? How? I'm gonna be a fucking owl. Like, listen here, Pinned. Listen. Again, I understand you're 24. You probably have like absolutely zero contact with like any real literature, which is fine. That's fine. I'm not gatekeeping. That is to be expected because of like generation gaps and blah blah. And, it's fine. But like, no, it doesn't do dark shit really well. It just doesn't. Where? Where? You know what the darkest shit I've seen in Final Fantasy is? The literal darkest shit I've ever seen in Final Fantasy. You know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. It's a note in Sastasha which clearly implies that the creatures or the pirates or whatever, I think the creatures living in the cave, keep women as breeders or for food. And their babies are like little mutant fucking sea lizards who obey the fucking, mutated captain or whatever, who in turn I think is the octopus at the end, or also reveres the fucking octopus that we fight. Like that's the most like Lovecraftian thing, and it's like, yeah, okay, sure, they keep it's dark as well. They keep them like as fucking breeders. Holy shit. Which has become mild because every fucking club owner at this point just has like 50 breeders, 50 ERP breeders, every fucking, like those Astasa fucking wannabes. But let's not go into that because otherwise the next darkest shit I've ever seen is actually the clubbing scene. Okay, so Pinned, like, listen here. No. Listen here, no. No, it does not do dark shit really well. Nothing is handled really well. You know what was kind of like kind of like, okay, Emmet Selk, right? Melancholic and dark, but not dark as in, um, to a certain extent. Like it was still kind of like more melancholy romanticism than it was darkness. Um, but yeah, I don't know what you would define as like dark shit, because you're not saying a certain degree of darkness or hopelessness or something. You're saying dark shit, dude, really well. As in, this thing will make you have develop like existential dread for your character or something. Like, or, no, there's nothing there. Uh, is there? Does any of the scions die? I think a Lalafell kind of dies in ARR or something or whatever. I don't fucking care. It's like, what else was dark? I guess, okay, so I'll give you. I'm fucking trying to make your argument for you in order to not sound like an asshole, okay? But I'm struggling because there's nothing really dark. I guess that one dead Lalafell, and then fine. I'll give you Emmet Selk. All right, maybe, okay, maybe. But that's again, that is like more goth, melancholic romanticism than it is, existential dread. Um, that's how I interpret it. At least that's how everyone I know fucking interpreted it. Nobody saw that and was like, "Damn, that's like 40K, dude." No, there's nothing even 1% like that. Meteon was so cringe that I couldn't take it seriously. Maybe that's like what Pint is referring to. The Meteon stuff was fucking cringe, dude. It's fucking cringe. It's full of plot holes. Like, well, I remember going through the story of fucking Endwalkers, and when like another little girl popped up, and it turns out she was like the penultimate Doom, just because she went on a fucking space trip and fucking developed space depression and came back to kill everyone because of space depression. I was like, bro, I don't know. And okay, Endwalker is like so shit that I couldn't I couldn't take any of it seriously. Like Space Depression Bird was also known as Meteon was like cringe. It was like Molgoth kind of darkness, you know? You know what a Molgoth is? Yeah, that kind of darkness is what Endwalkers had. The closest you'll get is, again, like some elements of ARR. Maybe. No, I will not give you Heaven's Word. No, you're not getting that. Some minor elements implied in ARR are dark, like the one I mentioned. Um, Emmet Selk is, again, Emmet Selk is definitely leaning towards melancholy romanticism and, and philosophy than it does dark shit, you know. And then you have Meteon, which, okay, I guess. Oh my god, I have to suspend my fucking good taste in order to think about Meteon in a serious manner. Um, yeah, I guess you can say she's dark. Whatever. I okay, I'll give it to you. Fine, you take it. Meteon, alright, Meteon and her stupid fucking dungeon tour where she goes like, here's a planet with a civilization that turned into fucking jellyfish and they stink. Look at their fucking sadness. That made me also sad, and now I'm here to kill you all. Okay, take it. Fine. Take it. Take fucking Endwalkers. It does dark shit. But now, Pinned, it's time for the Uno reverse. Does it do it really well? Mmm. Mmm. I'm a cow. Does it do it really well? Mm? Mm. Mm. Partially, yes. I had to vomit after that. But yeah, there you go. I'm trying to be objective. Partially, yes. That's the most you're gonna get. So your statement, Final Fantasy does dark shit really well, is just recycled bin material. It does not. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. I know you want your favorite game to be everything that you ever wanted, but it simply isn't. There is also okay. So you know what? All right, the Garland stuff. Okay, the Garland stuff. The Garland stuff. All right, let's take a look there. There is that destroyed city. Okay, you want destroyed city as well. Okay, fine, take it. You want the whole thing. The Emperor is in a dark tower, and he has become like infested by fucking chaos gods or whatever. And he has this like reverse reality where he's like this monstrous thing with chains. Yeah, okay, fine. Fine, okay, you take that too. And damn, if I ever debate with Pint, which is never gonna happen, I hope that they're going to be as fucking generous. You know, because I'm pushing to make their argument. And it hurts my good taste because this isn't really dark shit done well. It's just, yeah, there are elements which yeah, they're done well, I guess, but not really well. I wouldn't say so. I think this argument is a recyclable material. Since I'm not showing myself anymore, you can look at Pete. I'll try not to focus there, but for me it's gonna be difficult. Let's go.
Arc shit really well. I'd like to bring up a parallel, if you will. This is Valigonmanda, the first trial within Dawntrail. Very forgettable. Valigonmanda was, in my opinion, a bit of a missed opportunity. Now, I'd like to tell you a bit of a narrative parallel here. Spoilers for Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. It's a D&D. We're talking about D&D now, okay? So in this campaign, you're in the Icewind Dale, and there's these 10 towns, and they're all connected, and you can go to them in any order, and all of them have their own little quirks. Kind of like Dawntrail's tribes and such, right? Kind of peak.
Please, don't compare the two.
I see the parallel. Maybe there's some potential there. Then what happens? Valigonmanda breaks free, starts threatening these other cultures and little societies. Similar thing happens in Icewind Dale. About halfway through the campaign, you...
No, Pint, listen. The fact that something copies something else doesn't mean that it's greatness, okay? Again, Final Fantasy tries to cater to a lot of people, and it regurgitates its own shit. And it also takes unashamed inspiration from other stuff. And that's fine. But don't go down the route, which is not where Pint is going currently. But they're on their way to making that argument. And I'm gonna fucking stop watching the video if they do that. You know what? No, I will watch.
You've been tracking down these Dwagar, which are like these dwarf guys. They've been stealing like this ore and taking it back to the hideout. So you go there and you fight Zardarok Sunblight. Right as you land the killing blow on him, he presses the big red button. And what does the big red button do? Releases a fucking dragon. A dragon made out of that ore that they have been fucking collecting this whole time. And this dragon has a map with it. The DM says this. He says, this dragon is gonna fly out of here right now. First, he's gonna go to Dugan's Hole. Then he's gonna go to Goodmead. He's gonna go to East Haven, Caer Dineval, Caer Coneg, Tourmaline, Lonelywood, Bremen, Targos, and finally Bryn Shander. And so we had to stop him. Now, keep in mind, these 10 towns, we've been adventuring here now for about 6 months. We realized that this little guy, He's the only guy in the party that has sending, which is a spell where you can communicate with anyone in the entire world with a brief message, but he only has one use of it left. All of the party think that, hey, we should send a message to East Haven. East Haven could alert the people of like Lonelywood, the people of the other places, so that everyone could evacuate to Bryn Shander, giving us the most amount of time and evacuations to deal with the threat of this Charterland dragon. However, you see this little other circle over here. This is where our friend here, his name's Boo the Kobold, his best friend lives in Lonelywood. So he decides to send a message to Lonelywood. The dragon kills and destroys everyone in every single one of these orange towns and has severe casualties in all of the yellow crosses. We end up killing the Charterland dragon at Bryn Shander, and it kind of makes me think Valley Garmanda was a big missed opportunity. My point is,
So your point is that, yes, what I said, Final Fantasy fumbled at copying something, and that's what makes it great? Really? Anyway, let me read. Appropriately dark themes complement the classic Final Fantasy Hope and Overcome. That is a much better way to put it than saying there is some really dark shit in Final Fantasy and it's done really well. Because no, this is more appropriately worded. There are some appropriately dark themes, which by appropriately we now mean it's toned down so that it doesn't scare little kids. And those elements are there not to be focused on, but as a complement to the classic Hope and Overcome. You know, like the power of friendship. That is a true statement. And my god, it's boring. But yeah, it's accurate. But is it done well? No. As Pint themselves point out, it is actually not done well. It's full of missed opportunities, narratively as well. And the TLDR, what? 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 Nobody actually says that in Final Fantasy. It's always implied that, yes, you are the bringer of peace. You are the bringer of light, literally. Even when it's better to like wipe out an entire part of like something, it is done in the name of actually uniting the world in hope and friendship. So the TLDR, world peace is bad actually, where is that coming from? Where is that pointed out? Where is the undertone in Final Fantasy that what the Warrior of Light is doing is actually bad? Like, where is that where is that? Where is that sentence? You just fucking... You invented this. Okay, moving on.
appropriately dark themes complement the classic Final Fantasy Hope and Overcome theme. A big problem with Dawn Trail is that the stakes simply never paid off. There was no moment where Valley Garmanda did damage. There was even...
The only stakes that paid off are the ones that that fucking Limsa Lizard managed to fucking, you know, coerce me into buying for her, as she was pretending that her master was not feeding her well enough. And so I went to the market board, bought some fucking expensive steaks, and then I fucking brought them to the Limsa Lizard, and she was like, I have fooled you, adventurer. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna call your fucking mistress, and I'm gonna tell her she's doing a shit job, you fucking lizard. And then I did that. And then her mistress showed up, and she was like, are you harassing my pet? And I was like, no, your pet is just like fucking in the mud, being filthy as a pig, and trying to scam people out of steaks. And then the two of them had a fight, and they left. Get fucked, Limsa Lizard. First of all, and fuck you for stealing my steaks. But to bring it back to the differently spelled steaks, when did the stakes pay off in Final Fantasy aside from the lizard situation? Maybe Heaven's Ward? There were stakes there. Like the dragon was like marching towards, like, yeah, or where else? Because like it's pretty difficult to find any Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers. That made you feel like there is something at stake there. You know? Did Endwalker make you feel like something is at stake? No? It's like, oh, it's the end of the world. Also, help me deliver some boxes to the NPC next to me. There's meteors falling. What are we gonna do? Yeah. Life in the village is good. Yeah. Do you want to go, like, do fates? Like, what about Dawntrail? Dawntrail had no stakes. Dawntrail was like, oh, here's a new land. And the fucking drama that you don't care about because you're not even from here. Can you help us, like, sort out the drama? And you're like, yeah, sure. And then it's like, oh, but by the way, behind that drama, there's also, like, the invasion of a technologically advanced, aggressive civilization. Can you help with that too? You go like, fine, whatever. Is there like good loot in there? And they go like, yeah, look at their fucking sci-fi shit. And you go like, woo, let's fucking go. That's better than fucking Magitech. And that's basically what it is. and then the Savage is like, here is a fucking tournament, because of course there is, because we can't invent any other reason for you to fight anything else. So yeah, there's like a fucking tournament. Win there and challenge people. Okay. Great stakes there, bro.
Times when Sven's army invaded Tulialal, only Galuzia died. I think we just needed more, because frankly, I think most of us quite liked the part where Galuzia died. Not senseless, don't get me wrong. It is to inspire the themes. I would like an expansion that is high fantasy with dark moments. That is my decree. Now, solo duties are a little controversial. Ever since Dawntrail, people didn't like some, namely the Vanar solo duty, namely in from the
We're going into the meat and potatoes of things, because the story parts that Pint was like ranting about, I don't give a fuck. Like, first of all, I don't agree with Pint on many things. I don't think that he's got it. Fuck. They, she, he, I don't know, okay? They, I'll use they. It's difficult for me as a Greek person to use they, but I'm trying, okay? I'm sorry. That's why sometimes I default to like he, him. I know it's not right, and I'm sorry for that, and I'm really trying. But as a Greek, it's difficult to use they, them as a gender. And I don't know Pint's gender. So, you know, I'll just try to use they, and I'm sorry. And so, but yeah, let's get into the thick of it, right? Now we're getting serious. We're getting to like, how would you actually fix it? Instead of like fucking praising the story for almost copying correctly some other story, like wow, or having no stakes, or being mildly unsettling. Let's see.
cold. A lot of people are very divided. So
Who is divided? Nobody's divided. Solo duties are fucking shit. Who is divided? Are you guys? Is there anyone who fucking thinks that like solo duties are fine? They're not fine in Guild Wars. They're not fine in fucking World of Warcraft. Nobody wants to be another character and control that character, play as that character in some point in time. Nobody fucking wants that fucking stupid trope. Who even wants that shit? I would rather watch that as a cutscene. Maybe with QTEs, right? Where you get to control the... let me ban a bot. 1 second. There you go. Where you get to control, like, partially, just so you have some gameplay. You know, and that's all I would like. I don't like this whole control this other character, or this whole meanwhile, and then you play another character. Who the fuck likes that? Who the fuck likes that? Pint, if that's what you mean with solo duties, nobody should be fucking divided on that. They're shit.
I've devised a way to make everyone happy here. We have more difficult solo duties, but we add a menu to set your preferred difficulty.
Oh my god, are we doing this, Pint? Are you one of those people, Pint? Oh, let's make things harder. That's gonna fix everything. That fixes nothing, especially with the difficulty that fucking Final Fantasy seems to prefer, which is like artificial difficulty, and I'm not gonna even go in that. Like, that is such a can of worms. No, I completely disagree. That's not gonna fix anything. That is really just not gonna fix anything.
If you're someone who just wants to
Not to mention that, like, what's the point of making it harder than giving options for easier? Just make it easy and enjoyable. Make it enjoyable and reasonably hard. And learn how to fucking balance your encounters so that you can do that. Because there's no excuse in the vein of like, oh, but we don't know how to balance it because we created a fucking monster now and like we can't fucking tame it anymore. That's your problem. Take it back to the fucking drawing board. The solution to that isn't to make it like stupid easy or to just make it stupid hard and offer options for that. That's a band-aid solution. You should be doing that. And difficulty in and on itself isn't a solution. Harder narrative solo duties? No, dude, no. That's the wrong path. That's the path of darkness. Stop being a fucking tarnished.
story, you can set the difficulty to very easy every time. But if you don't mind, you can set it to normal. The story just has to be good. The world. Oh, the world. Now, I do want to admit.
What was that jump? Wait a minute. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You think? Yeah, okay, so you think? You think? Wow, my mind is blown. Okay, I'm glad that you came to this realization. Okay.
Just has to be good. The world. Oh, the world.
Let's discuss about the world. I'm curious because, like, I'm not gonna lie. The world of Final Fantasy, it has potential, but it's dead. Okay, let's see.
Now, I do want to admit there is a certain kind of world that comes to mind, and that is the world of Warcraft.
That is fair. That is fair because Guild Wars and World of Warcraft pull this off. The world does feel more alive, you know?
The world of Warcraft mogs 14. And it always has, and it always will. It is just an engine diff, but I still think there are some pointers that...
It's an ancient difference? Or ancient difficulty? So are you like making up excuses for like Final Fantasy? Who is the dev of Final Fantasy? Let me remember for a moment. Oh right, it's that one dev in a basement. Like it's an indie game, guys. Yeah, they can't. How would they make a world feel alive with that kind of budget? Nobody could with that kind of budget. Like fucking $3 on Patreon, on Kickstarter. Am I right, guys? Isn't that like what Final Fantasy is? It's not like it's a multi-billion-dollar company that fucking shits out, games on mobiles and everything. No. And it's not like they have a shop and subscription and a lot of people spend money on the subscription. No, it's just an indie game. Of course there are like difficulties in making the world. Fuck off.
We can take away from how World of Warcraft does its world to improve 14, because I think that is how 14 found a lot of its success, is by taking inspiration from other games. You're playing...
No, Final Fantasy found a lot of its success because it fills a niche. It's an anime MMO, it's the premier anime MMO with cat girls, and you can have the cyber sex. And also, it's Final Fantasy, so it's going to draw in a huge crowd by default who are in love, like enamored, with their favorite, flavor of Final Fantasy, be it like 6, 7, 8, or remake, or reboot make, or anything else that they might regurgitate. So of course it's gonna pull people in. That's why it pulls people in. Let's be real. That is literally why it pulls people in.
Classic WoW. You pull up to Dun Moreau, you've just trekked through the cold land. This is your first time there. You go over the hill and you see the city of Ironforge. You go inside this huge city and there's like this dwarven fortress underground with lava and grates, and it feels so fucking cool to my little brain. I actually look like this. And so I
mean, even that looks actually cool.
I go into Ironforge and I'm walking around and I'm like, this is so sick. And I see this pool of lava. You can actually kind of see it here. And I think to myself, can I jump in that pool of lava? And so I jumped in that pool of lava and I died. And let me tell you, having things in the world where you can jump off and die is actually pretty fucking sick. However, this game I was talking about earlier, this D&D game.
No, looks actually do matter. I mean, that's why you're paying for a GPU to pump graphics. That's why you're modding Pint, because you want more oomph visually, right? That's why that's why, creating a map for an MMO is a fucking art. Or should be. It's not treated as such anymore. Yeah, that's what, visuals matter. It's a game. It's mostly visual. You use your eyes, right? It's mostly visual. Of course, looks matter. Hi. Oh my god. Kaori, hi. Hi, Kaori. Hello, Kaori. I'm doing the thing that you wanted. Stream gaming. I'm not stream gaming. You can see it. I'm like, look at this. I'm proper. Are you looking? I'm proper. I've been doing the thing that you asked. I hate you. I hate you, Kaori. It's gonna be a hate fuck. What I think about it, you'll find out, because all this is going on YouTube, on my archive, right here. Look at this. There's a channel here. I'm not gonna spoil about what I've talked so far. I've had difficulties with some statements. Severe difficulties. Severe difficulties. Can you hear this? Can you hear that? Probably gets filtered. Alright, cool. But you can see the movement of my arm. I'm slapping my thigh. So when you see me do that, it's like a thigh slap. It's like I do when I'm like frustrated and energetic about something. But anyway, let's continue. I had my camera turned on for a bit, so I don't know. And I used this to conceal the avatar because it's distracting, okay, to me. So when I'm trying to focus on, like, to seriously focus on the arguments that the person is making, I had to conceal that for myself, not for you. And not because I dislike VTubing and V-streaming. That's my personal opinion. I do dislike it, but it's not because of that. It's because it distracts me. Like, I kept going like, oh, what is this person saying? Oh, look, there's a witchy girl there going like, nyam, 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 nyam. And I'm like, just watching that. I don't know. I get easily distracted. So I designed this placeholder, which, if you ask me, that's actually... Is there any comparison? Like, come on now. I believe that Pint should be paying me for a new avatar very soon. Okay? But no, I'm not, like, I'm just joking, obviously. But I'm not joking about everything else I said, because some of their opinions are... You'll see. You'll see if you watch, like, the archive or on YouTube, I guess. Anyway, let me just for your pleasure, I'm gonna allow you to see the avatar as well, and I'll just
It looked like this. We don't need like graphical fidelity here. That's not what sells.
Yes, you do need graphical. Listen, you're comparing, motherfucker. You're comparing a pen and paper tabletop RPG, and the epicness of that, and the strength of narration to a video game. This is like comparing a rock to fucking, I don't know, to a human being, or I don't know, to a goat or something. It's so fucking weird.
sells a world. What sells a world is the suspension of disbelief and how it should be respected. That is what is most important.
It's not though. It's actually not. Like,
I believe that we should remove as many invisible walls as possible and add depth.
also, that's what you're getting to. I still disagree with the way you're getting there, but I do agree with what you're saying here. Let me see then. Allow mounting in cities. Yeah. Okay, whatever. That one is whatever. Okay. Respawn at the nearest Etherite. Oh. So basically automate it so that when you die, you don't have to select the Etherite and attune to it. But you know, that's part of the problem with this stupid game. It is so fucking archaic. It will not even do that for you. You need to go to the Etherite and go like, okay, here is a fucking channeling bar. Let me fill that for like 1 minute and waste time, so that metrics can point at people being active. Sure. Sure. Your problem isn't automatically respawning at the closest Etherite. That would be the result, one of the many results of fixing the actual problem, which is fucking modernize your stupid game. Modernize your stupid game. Convenience the players. Don't inconvenience them. Convenience them. Jesus Christ, like, remove as many invisible walls, always. I will always say yes to that. Like, fucking yeah. Fucking yes, obviously. Death to falling, I mean... If Final Fantasy had any verticality, I would say that would be an immediate problem. The way they're handling falling is not bad from a gaming perspective. Yeah, it kind of breaks immersion, but it's just one way to do falling damage. It's not that it's immersion breaking; it's just a choice, you know. Because either you're gonna do it like Guild Wars, for example, where you can just fall, and there is lots of verticality in Guild Wars, and you can fall and die. But you can also choose to say, okay, we're not gonna kill you, but we are going to leave you with like 1 hit point, which means that your next move might kill you, depending if there is like something hits you or anything like that. Like, you know, you're gravely wounded by what you did, and now you have to be careful or wait a little bit to regen. It's a choice. It's a mechanical choice. So to me, that is not so immersion breaking, but it's still something I would like to see as a very minor, like very, very, very minor change that I would do. I do agree. But is it like going to fix the world and its immersion? It's never gonna do anything close to that, ever. Because to fix that, you would not only need to remove invisible walls, you would also need to add life to your fucking maps, which are dead. They're fucking husks, they're fucking soulless set pieces. And you do that by taking a look at how Guild Wars did that. The whole NPC thing, or even Skyrim, you know, where NPCs have their own schedule, they say their own things, they kinda interact, there's like dialogues, there's like, and there is a bit of that in Final Fantasy, I've seen it, but I had to really, really fucking look to see it, which is a shame. And Fates, of course, are again, because Final Fantasy loves doing that, completely ripped from Guild Wars, but done bad. It's like the story, just like Pint says. It's just done bad. So, what you would normally want with Fates is that they would be a dynamic event which definitely affects the map around it. It's something that should make the player feel that they're not alone. There are other things happening around them that affect the game world and the state of the game differently, and that they can interact with that and help steer it towards one or other outcome, which then has a different outcome because something dynamic spawns from that. You know, not just, oh, there is a random congregation of creatures in this coordinate. Go there, kill the creatures, and then a bigger creature spawns, and that's the limit of how dynamic these events are. Honestly, which sucks. It fucking sucks. Yeah, I was gonna get to that, Kaori. I was gonna say that you also have. It's such a multi-layered issue. Like making your world feel alive has 50,000 layers of what you need to do. From NPC dialogues and NPC behavior to to what you're saying as well, to making the interaction with enemies interesting, to giving people reasons to be there, you know. Whereas, for example, and I'm gonna give them a fucking credit for that. I'm gonna give Final Fantasy credit for that, and then I'm gonna take it away. You'll see what I mean. So you know how there is a rule: show don't tell. It goes hard. That rule goes hard. Like you go in Guild Wars and you see the events, and there isn't a text telling you, back in the day, the fucking red blood bears used to attack this town more often, but lately, thanks to the efforts of adventurers, the blood bear population has been culled, but there are still some left, and you would be welcome to join the hunt for them. And who knows, you might get to fight their leader. And that is what Final Fantasy does with the text, with the flavor on the text. It actually tells you but doesn't show you, because all it has to show you is like some fucking bears and you kill them, boom, done, event done. Nothing changes. But you go in Guild Wars and there is no fucking text flavor. There is NPCs panicking and running around, and then suddenly there is a stampede of fucking blood bears in the town, and they're fucking mauling people, and you're trying to resurrect them and push back the bears. And if you do push them back, there's a bigger bear, and then and then a world event starts, and then if you don't kill the bear, the town becomes inaccessible, and that can be annoying. But there's many other towns which do the same thing, so you don't really lose much. And then that opens up an event where you have to recapture the town, and that's its own like thing. And it just it feels alive, it just feels like you're doing a thing. It doesn't feel like. And the credit I was gonna give to Final Fantasy, which I just literally ripped away from it immediately, was that the flavor text is, oh my god, so good. It is so good. Sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes it's pretty creative with the names and the situations. There's lots of puns and jokes, like fucking. It's funny. It's funny, honestly. This is funny. But who's gonna read the text? And why? Why is that like not shown? Why are the contents of the text not fucking playing out in front of me? And even that is like just one more layer. There's like so many layers in making your world feel alive, including like animated props. Which, let me be real, Final Fantasy, you look at it, and it looks still. Like literally death has it in its grip. You go to a map and it's like, it's lifeless. I'm not arguing whether it's beautiful or not, it's lifeless. And even the mob placement doesn't make sense, and even the mob design is kind of like jarring, They don't look like they would be there. And their scale, like their size and whatnot, doesn't feel like they belong. Like often enough, Final Fantasy, when I was rolling open world, for example, gave me the feeling that in reality, my character is tiny, but I see them as large because I need to be able to see them. Because the scale doesn't make sense. And the same for the monsters. I always thought that, like, whenever you encounter a monster, it's actually perhaps in my head, it's not one monster, it's like a pack of them, but they're represented by one large model, which looks completely out of place and out of scale with the environment. That's how it felt. Like there's nothing immersive for me in Final Fantasy. Like literally nothing immersive. In fact, quite the opposite, and that's because of the overworld. Add a hand. So Pint is like completely lost it. I'm sorry. My dude, you've completely lost it. What you're trying to do is fix the problem by throwing more of the problematic elements into it. Oh, make solo duties more harder. Oh, give us like more of those hands that like only fucking, I don't want to say, but let's say only a certain kind of people fucking cares about that shit. Or people who are rushing their fucking raiding gear. And you want to throw more of that? Whatever. Use the opportunity to environmental storytell more. I don't understand like this writing, like more 50 to 100. I don't get it, whatever. I'll just stick to this. Use the opportunity to environmental storytell. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course. But add more hands. Like Paint solution seems to be throw more shit in there. What is that? Is the broken shit that does nothing and is like a time waste? Yeah, throw more. Throw more until it feels like it's not a time waste. Oh boy, let's go on.
Death to falling off. I also believe we should allow mounting in cities. We should let you respawn at the nearest aetheryte because that just makes the world feel real. If you've played 14 for long enough, you kind of just get used to this like path that you are set up on. You start to see the invisible walls without even running into them. I think it makes the world feel less real. It ruins the suspension of disbelief and breaks one of my core principles. I'm moving on to rating.
Oh no. Oh my god. I am fearful of the opinions of this person when it comes to raiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must admit, I am not a turbo sweat that raids week 1. However, I am very aware of that culture because I've done it a lot in World of Warcraft, and I know a lot of players who do that. I have been someone who's been scared to raid. I've done.
So Pint, I'm sorry, but like you're starting off the wrong foot here. Not that I won't listen to you, but like you're already starting on the wrong foot. Oh guys, I'm not a super sweat. Actually guys, I only raided in World of Warcraft. Do you want me to load that gun for you so that you can shoot yourself on the foot? Do you want me to do that? I can do that. You're shooting yourself on the foot right now. Like you're aiming that thing right at your cute little feet, you know? Okay. You know what? Benefit of doubt. Let's go.
Done raids in PF. I've done raids with a static.
Yeah, X-Sweat, but in World of Warcraft. Look.
I think it makes the world feel less real. It ruins the suspension of disbelief and breaks one of my core principles. I'm moving on to rating. Ladies and gentlemen, I must admit, I am not a turbo sweat that raids week 1. However, I am very aware of that culture because I've done it
Very aware of that culture. One moment.
a lot in World of Warcraft.
Because they've done it a lot in World of Warcraft.
And I know a lot of players who do that.
And simply knows people who raid.
I have been someone who's been scared to raid. I've done raids in PF. I've done raids with a static. I think that I have a very diverse portfolio when it comes.
Okay, I wouldn't say diverse portfolio, but I'm gonna take the opinion seriously because they added that they have raided. So, okay. Though, I wonder to what extent and like when, because that matters a lot.
To rating. The Arcadian. Good job on the Arcadian, Square Enix. I like it. Very poggers. Don't like the lockouts. I think this shit sucks, and I don't think any of us really want it in the game. However, we need to talk about something else. Players are here to have.
No, you don't need to talk about something else because those time gates are horrible. Like, Final Fantasy is full of time gates for a subscription-based game. But I do agree with Pint that is horrible. It is horrible, yeah.
Fun. And all fun is valid, but fun starts to disintegrate.
Just for context, I'm gonna repeat myself from the beginning. I don't like these principles. They don't make sense. They don't completely make sense. This, for example, the world is real. This whole thing to me is mumbo jumbo, and I explained it at the beginning why. And this one, players are there to have fun. Yes. Is all fun valid? No. You shouldn't, not all fun is valid. Not at all. It really depends what we're talking about. Like, we need that. This needs a lot of context and a lot of examples. Yeah, anyway, let's go.
If we don't have certain limits in place, because then it becomes a sandbox game, stuff stops mattering. So here's the rewards for Biss, and here's generally how you get them. You get the weapon from 3 and 4 of Savage. I like that the weapon is exclusively from Savage.
No, I don't like that. That's fucking dog shit.
I think that certain pieces of content, especially pivotal ones like Savage, should have exclusive rewards. And the weapon is a very significant one.
That's gatekeeping, though.
And I think Savage being the center of all raiding needs to keep that in check. You can now get gear from Chaotic, which is very pog. I love that. And you can also get augmented gear. So here are my proposals. We should standardize the time. Maybe 12 weeks, maybe 16 weeks. What matters is that it is the same amount of time every patch when the
Again, Pint is doing thing where instead of like actually addressing the root of the problem, tries to work around the problem. Instead of like striking at the root, they're trying to kind of like alleviate the situation by slightly altering things in a way that makes sense to them. And it may or may not make sense in general, but that's not the point. The point is, if you've got a pig, right? If you try to apply lipstick on it, it's still not something you'd like to fucking cuddle with. Alright? There's a saying, like lipstick on a pig. Literally, it's a saying. So what Pint is doing is putting lipstick on a pig right now with his proposals. They're not necessarily bad proposals. I would assume I haven't heard them yet. I already disagree with gatekeeping of, oh yeah, you know what? Let's keep the fucking separate difficulty settings, and also let's lock the rewards behind the final tier. Why? Didn't you just say, I'm gonna use Pint's own logic, all fun is valid, and we're there to have fun. Your own words. So why do I have to conform to your fun to get the same rewards? Because if there is like discrepancies in the rewards, then not all fun is valid, making me right. So you gotta decide what you're saying here. You can't have it both ways, Pint. And to me, the most valid way is that if you necessarily, for some stupid reason, want to have difficulty settings, sure, have your difficulty settings. But it should only affect difficulty, not loot, not nothing. Maybe a title. You want a title? Get a title. That's fine by me. Get a fucking title. Get an achievement. That's fine by me. Everything else, the gear, the loot, the appearances, the skins, the mounts, no. If you put that behind any kind of gating from difficulty, you're invalidating the whole sentence of we're there to have fun and all fun is valid. You're basically fucking double tapping that sentence. You kill both parts because now definitely not all fun is valid, and also partially you're not there to have fun because that's not fun for certain people. So they're not having fun there. So they're not gonna be there to have fun. Negating the sentence. That's why I think these principles that Pint is basing their changes upon are flawed by definition. And not really easily understood as well if you scrutinize. And I do disagree completely with the gatekeeping of content such as skins or better gear stats. Because either way, where are you gonna use that fucking gear? And then you have Final Fantasy's developers, which are doing exactly what Pint is doing, which is trying to put more lipstick on the same pig. Like Pint is like in charge of the lipstick, but fucking Square Enix is trying to dress the pig, put it in fisted stockings, like it. It's crazy. By adding like more and more difficulty. Let me read that, Kaori. One sec. At the same time, there are people that have fun by getting loot, and if all loot is free to get without any effort, then it's not very fun for them. Alright, let me pause there and address this. There are people that have fun by getting loot. Yes. Yes, that's why you should make loot interesting and not only in raids, so that they get that fix from elsewhere, for example. Now, then you say, if all loot is free, I never said that loot should be free or without effort. But the effort, and now we're going into encounter design, the effort should definitely be fun to do. Alright, and fun to do doesn't mean stuffing it full of mechanics. Right? It's kinda hard. I mean, every game, even SP, has some rare items that are great but hard to get that make player require work for it. Yeah, I never said I'm against work. I'm against unfun work. I'm not against depth. I'm against complexity. I'm not against difficulty or a challenge. I'm against artificial difficulty. You know, inflating the number of hit points, inflating the number of damage, inflating how often you wipe from a single mistake, removing any chance of recovery, body checks left and right, mechanics that are only based on complete memorizing. You know, I'm against that shit. All that shit is artificial difficulty. To be fair, they did go in the right direction. This new Chaotic Alliance raid drops Savage tier items. Yeah, but it's Savage tier, but it's not the same items. That's my issue. It may be Savage tier, but it's not the same items. And don't even get, because I might want skins. I might be a skin collector. Maybe that's my fun. And maybe I'm willing to work for it. I don't want it free. I want to work for it. I don't want to be punished for working for it, though. So that's the problem. Like, there's like lots of things that like Pint is just not aware of, I would say. I don't know why, but they don't seem to be aware of certain things, I guess. Anyway, let me understand what changes are, even though I'm completely uninterested in the changes, because this is like deciding what color lipstick the pig is gonna wear, and I'm not interested in that. Like, it's just nonsensical. But let's take a look. Standardize the time when the Sabbath becomes unlocked, but loot is still weekly. Isn't that like already how it is? Isn't there a standard time upon which moment Savage becomes unlocked, like is introduced, and then loot is weekly? Isn't that like exactly as it works right now? Am I fucking tripping? You get the normal raid releases. So his issue is that he wants them. Fuck. Their issue is that they want it to be standardized. I mean, what is that gonna address? It's not gonna do anything. So instead of a more random, you know, honestly, I don't give a fuck about that suggestion. Honestly, this seems like a nothing burger. Fully unlock raid tiers after. So again, standard. Okay, I don't give a fuck about that. Players who have already completed the fight that week do not reduce chests, but cannot roll. Just personalize loot. Why are you putting lipstick on a pig? Personalize loot. It's easy. It's part of making the game better and less time-gated. Just personalize loot. I don't care about anything that is gonna be said here, but I'm gonna let it play.
The Savage tier becomes unlocked, but loot is still weekly. Basically meaning that these locks kind of disappear after like 16 weeks. And you can go to the 4th fight without having to do the rest, but you still can only clear it once a week. Then fully unlock the tiers at another standardized time.
No, this is dumb. I'm moving on. I can't listen to it. What the... Okay.
Fuck me, we gotta talk about Party Finder. This is one of the worst aspects of the game right now, I must admit. So, here are my changes.
Bro, Pint, Pint. There is a game that is called Guild Wars 2. Have you seen the LFG tool on that game? Pint, listen, you have it good in Final Fantasy. Would it be better? Probably. Because the whole user interface is fucking archaic, it's ancient, it's decrepit. So could it use a facelift? Could it use more intuitive and responsive user interface? The whole game could, yes, that's true. But the LFG tool as a functionality actually works really well. And so does World of Warcraft. In fact, World of Warcraft is far better because it's also stylized. It's stylized in the theme of the game. It's like it looks like, it looks pleasant. If you're into the type of fantasy that like World of Warcraft is selling, you like the interface, Now, could World of Warcraft use some modernization? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But both games, in terms of functionality, holy shit, very good functionality. Sure could be improved, I guess. I guess it could be more detailed or something. Could allow a couple more things, I guess. But what it needs is basically modernization. But not in terms of features as much as looks and how it feels to navigate it and the menus and yeah, Pint, you have no idea, dude. You have no idea what a bad LFG tool looks like. And I can tell because you think that the Party Finder is a horrible problem.
Cross DCPF, of course, just of course, make it happen. Spaghetti code, blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking care. Make it happen. It is essential for this modern game to survive. I respect
Yeah, I mean, whatever they're saying is valid, but saying that the Party Finder tool is bad, you haven't seen a bad Party Finder tool. Which is not to defend that, like, as I said, I mean, there is room for improvement. Always there is room for improvement, of course. But yeah, I'm gonna move on because this is like just
Phoenix, very epic. Faru, also very epic. Good amount of difficulty. I think the player base generally is like, okay, yeah, that's like kind of what we want from an ultimate. Top was a little too much for a lot of people. However, ultimate weapons, don't like them. Don't like these. I don't know why we're so obsessed with making every fucking ultimate weapon this like washed out pastel hue.
I will agree, though that's a minor complaint. To me, ultimates are a problem, a part of the problem of having separate difficulties and what that creates. But I'm not gonna go into that because Pint is not about that right now. Pint is about the quality of the loot that you get from ultimates, and I have to agree that, for example, like just to give you an example, like I totally agree with what Pint is saying here. Some of the tombstone weapons and even some artifact weapons as well, especially the artifact weapons of more recent times, such as the ones introduced with like Endwalker, fucking shit all over what you get in Ultimates. Like they literally shit all over it. And even the Omega Protocol weapons, which when I saw them I was like, damn, that looks so sci-fi. And then comes the Manderville weapons final form, and it is fucking orgasmic if you like that stuff. So that's a good example of like, another reason why you shouldn't lock that stuff behind impossible difficulties. Because it's just give me the choice of which weapon to have. It's simple as that. Like, yeah. Now, for clearing ultimates, you're gonna say, oh, but I need something to show for it. Well, do you though? Because I thought we were doing this for the fun of it. I thought we were doing this for bragging rights. I thought we were doing this so that somebody can be like, oh, I cleared that. Okay, prove it. All right, here's the achievement. I got it. That's the sort of thing. That's the most that you can ask for like any difficulty clearing. Other than the intended by the developer's default difficulty, right? And I can hear already people saying, "Oh, but it's not the intended one because they also made Ultimate, so Ultimate is also the intended one." Um, to that I have to say, fucking consolidate. That's why I don't like separate settings. Just fucking consolidate. Take what is good from every one version and just artfully smash it together, because that's your job. You're getting paid to do that. That's your job. You're getting paid to design encounters. That is your job. If you're saying, "Oh, my encounter has to have 50 different versions because I can fucking balance fun with difficulty," that's when, you should be fired. That's when you should be fired. That moment right there is you admitting that you just can't do your job. I'm sorry. Now, if you want to add one setting that actually cranks everything up to 11 and be like, "Oh, you know what? This is not a real encounter. I'm just doing it for fun. It doesn't have more story locked behind it. It's just like, we thought it was fun. Some people found it like amusing to do that difficulty. So, we threw in a bone as well. Here's a title, clear it." That's what fucking Guild Wars did. And I can understand one version for beginners. I can understand that. And then the normal version, that I can like two versions. Perfect. Yeah, you have one for beginners. Like, oh, you started like yesterday. Here's a version of it that actually mechanics happen much slower. Or instead of having to deal with 4 debuffs, you have to deal with 3 debuffs. Alright, but it's the same mechanics, just toned down and with more wiggling room for recovery. So that when you learn that, you can be like, "Oh, okay, I see how this is. Time to try the real version." And between them, they shouldn't have any difference. Like, if somebody wants to stay on the beginner version, okay. And if somebody wants to go on the normal version, well, okay then. Sure. That's it. You want to add a super hard version? Go ahead, but it shouldn't give anything. It's like, it's something that people would do. So the easy version is something that people would do who are like challenged in some way, whether they just don't like difficulty, they just don't like the. Maybe they want to feel like their character is like completely OP. Maybe they get off from that, right? Every fun is valid. Isn't that what we said? And we're here to have fun. Isn't that what we said? So fine, give them the rewards as well. It doesn't matter. Like, I think it would be as simple as, alright, so here is what I would do, for example. If you obtain that weapon from the easy mode, it should have like this. Obtained from Omega Protocol easy. And then you can tell that the person doesn't lose the cosmetic, they still have it, but they don't have the obtained from the ultimate version of top. Just a very rough example, just a very rough example. So you do have the cosmetic, you do have everything, but there is like just that, like, oh, that's the version I used. That's it. But you do get the weapon, and it's fine, and you do experience the whole story, and you do experience the same mechanics, but it's just easy mode. And then you have normal mode, and then you have, if that's necessary, which I don't think it is, you can have like the extreme difficulty mode. So I'll be lenient and say, fine, have 3, but they shouldn't be different. If you want to have different settings, just make them the same though, okay? In rewards and in like story elements and all that, in phases and like everything. But ideally, you wouldn't want to have any version. Ideally, you would want to have one version that is tailored throughout in such a way that everyone can enjoy it. Or at least a good majority of people who are going to raid are going to be, okay, that was fun. It might have some easy parts, and some people might shine doing that. It might have some parts that involve like math, and some people will enjoy that. And then it has parts where it rewards like good reflexes, and some people will shine there. And that's how you make a group put out some team effort to get through. You know, because many skills are going to be challenged. Not everyone is going to be good at the same thing. Yeah, you know, dude, people are being paid for that. I can't like give you, I can't fucking school you in the basics of like encounter design. Okay, there are people who are paid for that. And what they're feeding you in Final Fantasy is just, setting 1, setting 2, setting 3, setting 4. And yeah, it's different loot, and it's gate kept, and it's time gated, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, moving on.
Just make one of like some of them like fucking cooler and darker and edgier. Why the fuck is it a light blue? We already have a light blue. Make it like purple. What the fuck, Square Enix? Make it purple. Alternative.
I understand the frustration, but it's completely like unrelated, like what Pint was saying there. It is just like aesthetics. Like, okay, Pint likes purple. This is not gonna improve the game. This is nothing. This is just Pint ranting. There is no fix there, no nothing, to be honest. Like, just to be honest. Let's see the alternative battle content, which already gives me headache.
Battle content. Now I think this could be a pretty big one, chat. Bosja/Eureka/Relic weapons should be available from the 0.1 patch or even launch.
Alright, so again, lipstick on a pig. My dude, your issue isn't Bosja, Eureka, or Relic weapons. Your issue is this fucking constant spoon feeding of small parts of the content that should have been there on launch. You're buying an expansion, it should have stuff in it. It should have what the expansion wants to do. Alright? You shouldn't have to wait until the next expansion to get the full version of the previous expansion. That is like so stupid. So like I disagree with the content that like Pint seems to enjoy, but that's subjective. I don't enjoy relic weapons. I mean, okay, relic weapons, you know what? Okay, relic weapons, it feels like you're working towards a skin that you want to get, and that can be fulfilling. I understand it. I much prefer it in Guild Wars. I much prefer it how it's done in Guild Wars. And the payoff is great, and what you get is great, and the skins are kind of nice. You know, okay, all right. But Final Fantasy isn't the slouch either. I did like the relic weapons. You know, it's something to work on. Cool. But like, release it from the start. You know, and Bosja and Eureka. Every fucking expansion has a Bosja/Eureka/whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's part of the problem. It's so predictable and it's the same content over and over and over and over and over, just with different skins. Like yeah. At least with World of Warcraft, you were like, oh, this expansion introduced factions. Oh, that expansion introduced the artifact weapon. Oh, that other expansion, something different. They're trying to do different things, and the same can be said for Guild Wars. But what is Final Fantasy trying to do? Nothing. So having that shit on launch is a very good suggestion, and I agree. But that shit needs to be varied, okay? That shit needs to be varied. Fucking invent different metas. Invent different bullshit, you know? And I'll be honest, Guild Wars 2, I am a little bit worried because they seem, but just a little bit because they did say that they're experimenting currently, and they are like, as of now, they're shaping their content strategy. So who knows what's gonna happen? Like the next expansion for Guild Wars is definitely gonna be very telling of what direction they want to take when it comes to content and what kind of content and all that. But right now I am a bit miffed that I see convergences on both expansions. Like you see Soto has a convergence, and then Jam 3 Wilds has its own convergence, and they're different enough between them to make me go like, okay, you get a pass. Okay, you get a pass. But would I like to see a convergence every fucking expansion? No. And Rift Hunting the same. There was Rift Hunting in Soto, it made sense. There's a demonic invasion and you're closing gates. Okay. But now there's also rifts in fucking Xanthri Wilds. It feels out of place. I don't like it. It's the same content. Why are you doing that? You know, concerned look. What's going on? I don't want that to continue. You know? Which is something that people have expressed as well. So that's part of the problem, like the fact that it's becoming formulaic, and in the case of Final Fantasy, it has become stagnantly formulaic, is a huge problem. Now, putting it at the start of the expansion so that you feel that you're getting a complete expansion and you can plan, all right, next expansion is coming out in 2 years, I have a day job, I can play for this long, let me fucking put down a list of what I want to do, and then you can plan ahead, and that's very nice, but it's still very formulaic. It's still very predictable. There's nothing going on. All that changes is the skin. Yeah. I don't know. So I feel this is again lipstick on a pig right here. But I will give the point for having everything on launch of the expansion. I definitely agree. Every MMO should do that, not just fucking Final Fantasy. Guild Wars should also do that, because you do get content at intervals of the same expansion, like content of the same expansion. It should have been there from launch. I fully agree. Make Criterion dungeons chaotic difficulty and drop accessories to complete. Yeah, make things harder and harder and harder, and gatekeep more skins and more equipment behind even harder and harder content. This is copium.
TBH. I think
This is copium. Get the fuck out of here.
in Transmog, you got like a glam set. Blizzard saw how popular they were and turned it into its own sort of vector of content known as Mythic Plus. Now, I didn't actually like this change. I didn't like the fact that now I had to do this every week for gear, and
I mean, that's pretentious because that's what you're doing in Final Fantasy. So you're being pretentious here, like very double standards. And you know, as a person who has played all 3 of the major MMOs, and yes, that includes Guild Wars 2 for me, and it should for you too, Mythics is something I absolutely enjoyed. I absolutely enjoyed it. Because what it meant is that at any point, I can go get a key, that key can be upgraded, I can go and upgrade it, and in essence what I'm saying is it took what is strong about World of Warcraft, which is the moment-to-moment battle, which is why I'm playing games personally, and the reason why I left Final Fantasy is because there is no battle content. There's raiding, that's all you're gonna do. It's fucking weak, it's weak sauce. But Guild Wars and World of Warcraft both incentivize going after the moment-to-moment for some increasing rewards and meaningful rewards. And I'm like, yeah, I can vibe. I can spend an afternoon getting a key and getting together with other people who have a key. And together we can try to upgrade our keys and get something out of it. And before you know it, that's like 3 or 4 hours of gameplay. Before you even know it. And not gameplay in the sense of like run the same dungeon 50,000 times, but with an increasing difficulty, with interesting classes to tackle it with, and stuff like that. So I would say that World of Warcraft, unlike what Pint is saying here, did it best. Even better than Guild Wars. Like, Guild Wars would benefit hugely from such a system, where you can have, like, even if it was, I've said it before about Guild Wars, if that game had an endless waves mode, or something like a deep dungeon, it would go so fucking hard. You have no idea. It would go so fucking hard. Palace of the Dead, right? In Guild Wars. And you know what's the ironic thing is that they tried that, and I have no idea why they didn't go on with it. Because they introduced Tower of Nightmares, and as a model, as a system, it's literally Palace of the Dead, except done better. It's more intriguing, But there is only one. This is only that. Nothing. Make more different towers like that. Tower of Nightmares. Tower of fucking I don't know, this tower of sci-fi bullshit coming at you, tower of like low fantasy shit coming at you, and you just like, you know, you progress and you're trying to reach the top of the tower or the bottom of it, whatever you want, like, you know, some endless dungeon, right? And put in some nice gold reward, because Guild Wars does rewards the best. So they would do like great if you had like gold rewards or some other shit or some infusion or whatever, and have people, allow people to just have fun with combat, like form groups, go in the tower, see how far they can make it, just like basically just like fucking as I said, Palace of the Dead. If you do that in Guild Wars, considering Guild Wars design philosophy and moment-to-moment gameplay in these combat systems, and how it rewards players for like actually doing content, it would be fucking 10 out of 10. And the fact that they did that with Tower of Nightmares and they stopped there is disgusting. It is disgusting. They should definitely continue, because they can pull it off even better than World of Warcraft. Because there is no, you know, gear creep, and there is no pressure with keys. You just go in, you just find a squad and go in. It's like, yeah, it's actually good. So that I think that would be done better, but I disagree with what Pint is saying completely. Saying that World of Warcraft does it the worst is like literally just, I don't know, what kind of copium, what kind of Final Fantasy, what kind of fucking Limsa Lominsa copium you're inhaling right now. I have no idea.
It kind of took the novelty out of it for me, but a lot of people really did like it. And I think that
Like, where is novelty for Pint? In fucking Boza? Is that novelty for Pint? Like fucking Boza?
there is an equivalent lesson that we can learn here. See, there is a lot of reusable assets, but still creates a lot of content. Mage Tower. This was where you had to fight a boss as a certain class, and different classes had a different boss to fight, and every single class had their own unique weapon if you did the Mage Tower. So here is my proposal. We have Savage.
Oh my god, again with difficulty? Get out of here. I'm fucking and gatekeeping weapons, like the title fine, but the weapons again, guns again. Holy shit, you know. No, I'm not gonna play Final Fantasy XIV. I came from Final Fantasy XIV. I stopped playing it to play Guild Wars. Hi, Ragzen. But no, this is like, I'm gonna like skip forward, because I do not like these proposals, because they are again, you came, Ayo? You'd love that, wouldn't you? Let's not discuss about my ejaculation process though. Let's focus on the video. Criterion Dungeons, alright. Why? What do you want with player housing? Let's see.
Game. At the end of Endwalker, we got a feature known as the Island Sanctuary. Everyone was saying, holy shit, this is gonna be the player housing we dreamed of, and then it came out and it wasn't player housing.
Of course, it's Final Fantasy you're talking about, Pint. Of course they're gonna take an idea and fuck it. Fuck it so hard it's gonna have ugly babies. And what you're getting to play is the ugly babies, not the original idea.
But then they added furniture to the islands, and we started thinking, okay, surely they're gonna like add player housing to the islands, but they didn't add it to the islands. We're left.
And by the way, the furniture in the island is like pathetic. It is honestly pathetic. Like the lockdown limit is pathetic.
Wondering, we're scratching our heads. Where's the player housing? We really can do it. I have what I like to call the Loperate Isolated Functional Estate Pod.
Bro. Sorry, but yeah, all this I agree. This part I agree with. I don't even have to listen to it. Immediately agree. 10 out of 10. Yes, not the lottery. All that shit, no. But these, where they're talking about how you can customize, yeah, it needs a huge quality of life update. A huge quality of life update. But still, I'm going to like just move over from that because that was the only interesting part.
The adjustments. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm tackling this. I don't even want to touch this. It's horrible. The netcode's
Sorry, I
awful.
pressed
Oh
something
my
there.
god, it's so awful. However, all fun is valid. PvP heads lock in for
These principles have to go. These weird principles that are like a fucking fever dream of sentences and word salads has to go.
I am about to change your damn world. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you right here. It's gonna be all of us. First of all, we just make it give more fucking XP. It's not a big deal.
Oh, I agree with the first one. I agree with the first one. Allowing people to queue with other people? Yes, yes, please. Yes, please. New rewards, I mean, sure. Yeah, more incentive, I guess. After 2 seasons passed, the series reward will be purchasable for crystals. Yes, I agree with everything there. I'm gonna have to add something from my time from Crystalline Conflict or Crystal Conflict. I'm not sure which of the two is correct. I will say that Crystal Conflict creates FOMO, like unashamedly creates FOMO. Which is what eventually tired me, and I decided that I never touched again. And I am completely against the reward system. I will always be completely against anything that creates FOMO on purpose and just to keep you playing. So, for example, Crystalline Conflict is, they wanted people to keep playing that shit. And at that point, they did that by taking away the skins that you would be getting from ranking up. So, and those skins are never to be seen again. So if you don't make it to rank 50 or 25 for that season of Crystalline Conflict, those skins are forever going to be lost to you. That is insane. But also a move that Square Enix would 100% pull off, which, as proven they did. So what more proof do you need? And I am completely against that, and I find it disgusting. And it is very, very obvious that it's like there to create FOMO. And what Raxen is saying, make all skins viable in cash shop. They beat you to it, because Final Fantasy, being a subscription game, most definitely has a fucking cash shop with skins. So, don't worry, they outgridded you already. Someone did the math on amount of lost games for getting its season skins. Okay. But the problem isn't winning or losing. The problem is that it creates FOMO, makes you play it regardless whether you win or lose. Yeah, if you win, you get it faster. If you lose, you get it slower. But if you don't participate, you lose it. You actually lose the skin forever. And the moment that these skins appear on the cash shop is the moment that you know that basically you should not be playing this game anymore. You should just literally not be playing that game anymore. And the alarming thing is that there is precedent. Because, for example, if you miss a seasonal event, then the seasonal event items are going to be added in the shop for money. So there is precedence of, it's not a tactic that Square Enix would not think about. And it's a tactic that Square Enix would definitely do if they weren't afraid that it would create backlash.
Allow people to queue with one other person in ranked season.
But in a vacuum, I'm pretty sure that the people in control of those decisions definitely would love. They would love to put those skins on the shop. They would love that. It's just that like they're being stopped, like And just let us make pre-mates is also exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, of course, you should be able to queue with your group for PvP. It's crazy that you can't. It's crazy that you can't.
PC. I think this is epic and based and we should allow it. Maybe even allow people to queue with 3 to 5 players, but then require a 3 to 5.
Okay, I don't need to hear this. I can already, like, predict perfectly.
This, my friend, is an augmented hellhound weapon.
Okay, yes, now going on to a rampage about the skins. All right, let's see. This looks
You
interesting.
only get those crystals if you hit the max rank, and you get 1 crystal if you get the second highest rank. And queues at this rank are fucking dead unless you are using a Discord to coordinate it. It is essentially impossible to get these fucking weapons with normal play, and this is why a lot of win trading happens, and it's fucking lame. There is also top 100 rewards from an old game mode called The Feast. These are no longer available, and a lot of them were win traded. These are very desired. A lot of people want these back. And so I propose the following. Overwatch had a problem where a lot of people were just playing the game, getting the rank they wanted, and then stopped playing the game. Now, for a lot of people, that was like good because they could go on and do other things. But a lot of people kind of wanted to grind, but after a certain point, you got nothing to grind for. So Overwatch added just a little something, these golden weapons. And now if you're playing Overwatch ranked, you get this currency and you can buy these weapons. And I think this is a really good model for just increasing engagement. So here's what I propose. First of all ranks gain commendation crystals. Crystal gains 8, diamond gains 4, platinum gains 2, and gold gains 1. Weapons.
All right, so I think I'm not gonna watch this because, yeah. No, just don't comment on that. That's why I said I'm not gonna watch it, because this approaches the levels of like delirium, where this one is just like ignoring core problems and going like, no, what I would change is instead of this currency, it should have that other currency that I just thought about while I was taking a shit in the bathroom. But like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to see what the person actually has to say about the you know, the systems in place, and the person so far has nothing to say about the systems in place. They're just putting lipstick on a pig. Like, literally, I could change the title of this video from the problem with FFXIV and how to fix it to basically how to dress up a very nasty wound. That should be the title of the video. Like, yeah, let's dress up this nasty wound. That's the title of the video, essentially, because it does nothing to address core problems. The person doesn't seem to be aware of certain core problems, and most of their time thinking through this video has been consumed by swapping out one currency for the other, or one skin for another, or spewing the same fucking regurgitated nonsense, which, surprise, surprise, regurgitation seems to be a theme with fucking Final Fantasy at this point. Of like, oh, make things more difficult, add more modes, more difficult modes. It's like listening to a monkey at this point, where it goes like, more modes, more difficult, like a parrot, not a monkey. It's like, more difficulty, cra, cra, more difficulty, more modes, more difficulty. Like, bro, stop. Stop. Just stop. Oh my god.
Now cost 8 commendation.
Okay, moving on. Move on.
That, of course, cannot go unsaid. Fix the fucking ping. Make it so
Okay, legit. Alright, legit yes. Legit yes. Legit fucking yes.
that every player can double weave regardless of ping. That's a basic human right. Good lord. This game is literally unplayable at a high level for so many people if they just don't have good internet. Some miscellaneous changes. Give down.
Oh no. Hey, I'm here for this. Let's go. Dancers get an ability out of combat to make their next dance instant. Oh, we're going into fucking Narnia right now here with balance. Fix the fucking classes first. They're not interesting to play. We don't want to have tools to optimize what we already have. We want things that are unique to the class. Why? What the fuck do I care about my ability to fucking pre-cast before combat? I don't care about that shit. Let it do something interesting. Add more jumping puzzles. Okay. Yeah, after you fix Guild Wars 2 makes better gunplay than Final Fantasy XIV is true. It is true. People don't want to fucking talk about it, but Bladesworn is exactly what Gunbreaker should have been. It's exactly that. Exactly that. It's crazy. Gunbreaker should have been a DPS. I'm not gonna lie. It should have been a DPS. And if Final Fantasy was smart, if Square Enix was smart, they would do an experiment, which my god, even saying that, Square Enix experimenting in Final Fantasy, whew, that would be the day. I'm gonna resubscribe if that happens, if they start doing that. But what I was trying to say that Gunbreaker should have been the first hybrid, not switch and choose, but actually in combat hybrid of DPS and tanking. That's what it should have been. But no, they don't, like, the attempt to do that was fucking Scholar and like Summoner. That was their attempt to do that. And we all know how that went. Add more jump puzzles is, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, with Final Fantasy's movement, oof. A weekly semi-randomized Motherville jumping minigame with a leaderboard. Isn't that already there? Isn't one of the venues like a jumping puzzle which is timed with a leaderboard at the end, which rewards MGP? What? You're getting around 4K USD? Holy shit, what did you do? Did you just like sell drugs? Did you sell yourself? What did you do? Did you extort someone? Share your secrets and I'll be right back to read them after I get something from my headache. So I'll BRB. Yeah, talking about Final Fantasy seems to give me a headache. So anyway, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take something for it. I'll be right back. And I'll read what you said then. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Company contacted me and say, hey, we messed up. You've been paying double electricity bills for 9 years. What? What kind of company contacted you to say that? Why does it sound like a scam? Oh, your electric. Oh, so there, it's official then. It's actually 100% official then. You double checked. You called them and said, hey, I received this message. That's insane. Kudos to your electrical company then. Where the fuck do you live? What the fuck? Where do you live? I want to move there. Sounds like an honest place. There we go. I was correct. I was expecting something like Denmark or Sweden or something like that. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we fucking go. Yeah, no, here is the opposite. It's like you're gonna get a call, and not even a call. Basically, you're gonna see your electricity bill like inflated to high heaven, and you're gonna call them, and you're gonna tell them, hey, there must be a mistake because, well, these numbers make no sense, and they'll be like, yeah, we're expecting you to pay them. And if you don't, you're gonna start building a debt, and then that debt is going to get fucking taxed as well. And then just pay us, just fucking pay us. That's what's gonna happen here. Oh my god, amazing, amazing. What are you doing with your 4K dollars? Well, not dollars, but like, yeah. What are you gonna do with that? I'm curious. New PC makes sense. Right now is the worst time to go for a new PC, which is something I'm starting to realize because um, I received some extreme generosity from and when I say extreme, like really extreme generosity from Neris, and I was looking into building a new PC as well. And the more I look into it, the more fucking disappointed I get. And I wonder, and it's also like a really bad time because there is lots of new parts coming out. Like we're expecting like the new AMD processors, I think, and there is like some speculation about AMD revealing like a new GPU as well that is supposed to compete with the 5080 or something, allegedly. And it's all happening like during the next couple of months. We're gonna have like those things. I think on the 27th they're gonna talk about the 5 series is yikes. Yeah, it is completely yikes. I mean, if you're moving from a 2080 to a 5080, obviously that's an upgrade, right? And 4080 is out of the question because 4080 and 4080 Super are just not available. They're just not available anymore. So you're stuck. If you want to upgrade or build a new system, you're stuck with the 50 series. Or if you want to go for the for that for that AMD card that competes with the 4080 or used to compete with the 4080 back when 4080 was recent, I guess. Yeah, I also plan to go for AMD. I'm ditching Intel, and I want to ditch Nvidia, but like if it takes AMD months to fucking give us a new card, I might go Nvidia, sadly, because I mean, being an owner of a 2080, I will tell you that it will not do ray tracing, sorry. It won't do RTX. It won't do any frames, any AI frames, which why would you want that anyway? And in more recent titles, it might kind of chug a little bit, but it's still very good. I think for a mid-range PC, it's actually still very valid, the 2080. But you're not gonna be gaming in 4K with it. You're barely gonna be hitting 2K with good settings. Damn, you and Neris have this in common. You're both spoiling your girlfriend. I like being spoiled. I'm not gonna lie, I like being spoiled sometimes. Yeah, you've brought it up. I remember. Seems like here and me have something in common, which is the lack of a good partner. And when I say lack, I don't mean with A, CK, I mean with you, CK. Like the fortune. Getting her a driver's license so she can get a job? Hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's nice of you. Yeah. Hmm. Maybe stretch a bit. Hmm. All right. We are near the end. We just have to swallow some more shit and then let's see. Make the friends list good. I think. Listen, the friends list is fine. It's fine. It works. It works. I don't know why. What is the person saying? Wait. What? Oh, right. I have to click here. It's trash. All right. In what regard is it trash? You can't load yours. What? What prevents you? It backed out. Holy shit. Yeah, maybe fix it then. Maybe they need to fix it.
Answers the ability out of combat to make their next standard step in people. Second of all, I have a friends list with like 200 friends because I filled it up. Because if it wasn't filled up, then I kept getting requests that took time to decline and I couldn't turn off friend requests. And now when I open my friends list, it has to load 200 people. And for some reason that takes like 20 seconds to do. Just fucking fix the friends list. Oh my God. Dungeon Meshi or Freerun collab. It's anime. It's
no, fuck, that's nothing, and quit with your principle. This video, what? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This video that we're watching right now. Okay, I hope that Paint is talking about these two particular ones.
video on the left is perhaps my biggest flop. I made the mistake of thinking that an Elden Ring video was just gonna hit. And frankly, wrong time, wrong place. I'm proud of what it was, but one of the if
But why do we care for that?
change that you aren't sure it's gonna work out well, it's best to make that change quickly. Because hesitation is
What the fuck is this person on about? What the fuck is this person on about? What is like? Okay, this is like delirium at this point. I'm sorry. Okay, done. Yeah. Okay. So now you have my thoughts on this video. This stream took 50 months to take, by the way. Just so you know, like this, yeah. You know what? Yeah, no, it's weird. Paint is weird. I don't know. I don't agree with most of the things that they said. I think they're missing the point, and I think that it got derailed a few times as well. But hey, it's a 24-year-old VTuber, so it yeah, I was expecting worse. I was expecting much worse. But okay, it's not a video that I vibe to, and these aren't opinions that I vibe with either. And I think there is like a lot of things that can be hard debated against with what the person is suggesting. Oh no, that's not Pint. That is a person that Pint was talking about in the beginning of the video. I don't know what Pint looks like, honestly, and I don't really mind what they look like. But yeah, I don't quite agree with the opinions like presented, with the solutions presented. Yeah, I also don't exactly know who they are. But it was a video that Kaori suggested that I should watch on stream and comment on, and I did precisely that. And it was a good time. It was a good time for sure. What's the point of using a camera and an avatar? I don't get it. What's the point of using both? Like at that point, just stick with one or the other. I mean, besides the obvious that like seeing a cutesy girl, uh, a cutesy anime girl talking to you, you might just agree with everything they say and like keep viewing. I guess that's the only point. Because if Pint can be comfortable with a camera, then there is just no point in like VTubing, I would say. Sorry, I'm also feeling my vapor on the side, so. But yeah, anyway, that's their choice. I'm just like curious about the decision. Maybe they're trying to transition from VTubing to camera, perhaps. And maybe VTubing is like kind of at the middle of the road. Maybe that's the scenario. I don't know. But usually, what the scenario is for somebody VTubing, and let's be real about it, and V streaming is usually because, yeah, people like cute anime girls. That's it. And it's regardless of the voice, it does help people get hooked into that and be like, oh, maybe that person is a little bit. I'm not talking about Pint in particular, by the way, just clearing it up. Not talking about Pint in particular at this point. But like a lot of people just profit from the association from that someone's brain might make, where they might be, oh, the person talking actually is a cute anime girl at heart, and maybe I have a chance with them as well. So yeah, I dislike VTubing for that part, and it's much easier to get like an audience as well because of that reason. Regardless of how, like this is not mutually exclusive with a streamer being charismatic, or with a stream being excellent, or anything like that. It's not mutually exclusive with that. They might be a perfect streamer. They might be a perfect VTuber, V-streamer. But I myself, regardless of that, don't like VTubing or V-streaming because it feels like cheating, honestly. And that's my opinion on it. And there is nothing that like, what beats Steam review bombing? No, what? Damn, review bombing. Oh my god. Keep bombing and I was agree. Damn. What the fuck? That is so specific, but also so random. Is there like some lore behind that? I see. Damn, you mentioned Bladesworn earlier. Um, you mentioned Bladesworn earlier, and that made me think of a thread that somebody started on Reddit. Um, that's good timing, Kaori, because I was gonna go into talking about Guild Wars 2. Thank you for being here. You can check the start room if you want on like the archive or on YouTube. And thank you for suggesting the video. I like it when you suggest stuff, like all of you, that I should look at. I like this dynamic, this relationship. So thanks for that. And it was okay. It was informative, I guess, or entertaining, I guess. So yeah, thanks for it. But yeah, back to the matter at hand with Bladesworn. I saw a Reddit thread because, of course, that shit is on Reddit, obviously. There was a guy who was saying like, I just started Guild Wars 2 weeks ago and I'm playing Bladesworn. His Kugane Tower video. Well, I mean, maybe, but I won't promise on this one because it's something like the subject matter just doesn't interest me. I don't care to see a VTuber being cutesy and jumping around. It's fine, you know. I bet it has its funny moment. As I was saying though, that guy was playing for 2 weeks or has been playing for 2 weeks and was a Bladesworn, as I said, and they were like, okay, I suck at Bladesworn, I can't do damage, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm dying all the time. And then they added, I also tried Spellbreaker, and I've been dying all the time on that one as well, just to, you know, they wanted to check if basically the build was wrong. Like, you know, maybe Bladesworn is not for them. But they sucked at Spellbreaker as well. And they were asking if it's actually a Bladesworn issue or a skill issue. And I felt I had to reply to quite a few comments of people making some pretty strange claims. And these claims were very curious to me. As I said, pretty strange, honestly. The amount of people advising the person that Bladesworn is absolutely fucking slapping because it has, and I quote, the highest single hit damage. You're gonna BRB, okay. My god, like, or people saying, oh, but it has Aegis, and oh, but it brings its own stability, and it has like Dragon Spike Mine, which is also evading, and you have a teleport, and this and that, and like, are these people even playing the same game? Like, I don't fucking understand. Because these tools that Bladesworn has, well, you have to use them for your rotation. Like, it's not like you have them on demand. They're there, but they're used for your rotation. Which, if you don't use them for your rotation, well, your rotation is gonna be shit. And then your DPS is gonna be shit. And so, I don't fucking understand what these people are saying. Another guy was arguing that like, oh yeah, bosses usually die in the first 15 seconds. And I'm like, bosses usually die in the first 15... What are you doing? Are you like... What are you doing? Are you running like dungeons? Are you running like T1? Like, what boss dies within like 5 or even 15 seconds. Like that's speedrunning strats we're talking about. What do you mean most groups will clear in 15 seconds? Like, what are you gonna clear in 15 seconds? What, CM? You're gonna clear CM in 15 seconds without like a pre-made, specifically composed group of like soul beasts and like one person with green? Like, what kind of fever dream are people on about when it comes to Bladesworn? Because that shit is good DPS. It's a good. So Bladesworn is a good DPS. If you're a very good player, it can be a very good DPS. But is it worth the effort, investment, and like sacrificing the alternatives? No, absolutely not. The only reason to bring it is because you enjoy it. That's the only that's the only reason you bring a Bladesworn in any fight. You just like the aesthetics, and if you're actually a good player, it will dish out some decent damage, and that's literally all it has. And a lot of things can go wrong depending on the encounter, and it absolutely sucks in trust pools because either trust dies too fast, or there is too much CC, or there is too much forced movement, and then you get fucked. So all these people saying that Bladesworn is so fucking amazing, I just said, hey, basically, can you show me like a statistic of usage that like suggests that? Or can you show me like a clip of you like slapping hard with a Bladesworn in LFG? Because I've never seen a Bladesworn. I'm the only Bladesworn I've ever seen. I've seen one other Bladesworn once in like a raid. That's and the guy was in our guild, and that's basically it. And yeah, they were doing pretty cool damage, and I learned some things from them. And they were reaching like 38, sometimes 40, sometimes not sustained, but like they would peak there. And then depending on the mechanics and everything, it dropped a little bit up to the points of like Condi Virtue or other shit. Not even Condi Virtue actually, like much lower. And I myself can do bursts that like reach even like 60k, 7k, like, you know, 61k, for example, like for 5 seconds. And then it goes back to like 28 all the way up to 38 or something like that. There's a huge like gap there because it's very circumstantial how Bladesworn is gonna do its damage. So yeah. I bet I didn't go check the thread anymore because I expect I'm gonna get like immense hate, and I just don't want to have to deal with that today. Especially since I have a headache, I just don't want to start like a fucking Reddit debate. But people saying, for example, that like, oh, it has so many defensive options. Like, what defensive options does it have? Everything that is in the kit needs to be used for damage. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And they're using like the fucking Snowcrow videos, like the benchmark videos, as proof that fucking slaps. Dude, its DPS is not like above other classes that much, to be honest, and those classes can more consistently and realistically pull off that damage, whereas Bladesworn cannot consistently and realistically pull that damage. And they're going like, oh my god, did you see that one Dragon Slash that did like over 200k damage? Yeah, but like, what about sustained DPS? You know? And there were some other people claiming like, oh, if you don't clear a whole fractal, if you don't clear an encounter in a fractal CM within like 15 seconds, you're a fucking casual. And Bladesworn fucking signs at this, and I'm like, what reality are you coming from, buddy? What kind of like LFG are you coming from? Like, what is this like crazy nonsense? There's lots of crazy talk. Meanwhile, and you know, I know that I'm right because, for example, not only do I see it because I am a Bladesworn main, obviously, but not only do I see it firsthand, but I also see it on the official forums where people are literally complaining about the opposite. That like, even with the recent buffs, Bladesworn just is way too clunky to play. It's too clunky to play, there's not enough reward, the rotation is too precise, like, you don't have any tools that you can have them on demand. Yes, you have tools, but they're not on demand because you need to use them for fucking damage. Otherwise, the class just doesn't do enough damage without using these tools. So, What the fuck are these people on about on Reddit? So I might as well just never check back because it's so fucking silly. I was like, another person was like, oh, Bladesworn is OP. Okay, why is it OP? And the answer was like, oh, well, the final boss in Heart of Thorn, Mordermoth, by the way, that's how you call that, just in case you didn't know. So the last boss on fucking Heart of Thorns, I fucking glitched the encounter because of how good Bladesworn is, and I'm like, that's not a matter of Bladesworn. That's a matter of junk in the coding. Like, what? A Pint of Final Fantasy XIV. That's because I was watching a video from Pint, who, that was suggested to me by Kaori, and it was interesting. And since the person was called Pint, I was like, hey, yo ho ho, and a pint of Final Fantasy instead of a bottle of rum, It's a good title. I'm very proud of it. But it doesn't imply that I'm playing Final Fantasy. I don't even have a running subscription, Enfer. It's unlikely they will have that I will play Final Fantasy this or the next expansion, and maybe even the one after the next. I am so fucking tired of that game and of the direction they're taking. But we've talked about it like plenty of times. And so instead, you're meshing hash hash. I know, but I have to give the context as the streamer. I have to give the context of the dialogue that we're having right now. I have to, so that people watching can understand. No. What are you doing? Wednesday, you're free, aren't you? You're free as a bird. What are you doing with your freedom? That sounded so grim. My grandparents are still in the country. I think you meant they are like in your immediate vicinity, I guess. Still able to physically be there, I guess. Yeah, but I mean, you still have your freedom. You can still like just do stuff. I was wondering what you're doing. I'm just sitting here commenting on that Final Fantasy video, and then because Ragzen mentioned the Bladesworn at one point in relation to Gunbreaker. So by the way, Bladesworn sits all over Gunbreaker as design. But that's not the point. The point was that, then I wanted to talk about that. And so here we are. I'm talking about that. And specifically, a Reddit thread about it, which the Reddit threads, Reddit threads, right? Reddit threads are gonna be Reddit threads. And I might as well just have my camera turned on since we're just chilling and talking, I guess. Because it's not gonna be long either. I'm just gonna go and have lunch very soon. I streamed for 12 fucking hours yesterday. And I'm wrecked. And so today I wanted something chill. So there you go. Something chill, I also talked about my new build, my new PC build that, might be delayed a little bit because things are shit right now with the GPUs and the CPUs and all that. I was also saying that I'm switching to AMD and I'm ditching Intel and I'm ditching Nvidia if I can. We'll see. Depends on performance and announcements. And what else? That's pretty much it, basically. But yeah, I'm gonna have lunch. I can't wait. I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of hungry. I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited for the new PC anyway, and I did manage to squeeze VR into it, or very likely will manage to. And I was looking at that as well. I have a friend who's looking into it. because he has a friend in turn who, just develops shit for VR and all that, and she has like 50 billion models at her place, and yeah, she's into developing stuff for it. And she's going to help me choose. That's interesting. Anyway, that's it. No more camera for you because I had enough camera yesterday and enough today as well. Let me look at my hair a bit. Oh god, I need a shower. I need a shower, I think. Damn it. Mm. Feel good. But I should shower probably soon. It's starting to get like wavy. And when it gets wavy, I don't know, I've associated with needing a shower for some reason. Even though I'm naturally kind of wavy like that. Anyway, whatever. Um, right. So, no more camera, as I said. That's it. And probably also no more stream. Because I'm getting hungry and I do have that headache, and talking about Final Fantasy didn't help that headache. Poor me. I need attention and petting right now. More than anything. And food. And I can only get one of them. One of those things. And that's food. So, yeah. Alright, well, thank you for watching and thank you for passing by. And for the interesting chats. I will bring back up the Bladesworn thing once I stream Guild Wars again, because it's gonna be more relevant. I'll be able to also sort of give examples of what I'm saying and all that, which will be more useful. But for now, I'm gonna have to leave you, and I'll see you either around Saturday for some yapping, because I still have like some videos I want to watch with you. Or maybe even earlier. Maybe Friday there's gonna be like some I don't fucking know, some gaming. It depends. It really depends. Like the 12 hours yesterday fucked me. I gotta tell you. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't plan it, and I wasn't well rested or anything, and it just like fucked me. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks again. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day and enjoy whatever you do. And I'll catch you soon. Bye bye. Kisses.